YouTube, tá bom?
Amém, Senhor. Errei. Ok.
O Raul também precisa de liberação para compartilhar a tela?
Não. A Ângela está dizendo que não tem o link, já. Você passa para ela?
Ângela. Ah,
Tradutora. O Raul também entrou com o pano de fundo da festa. Eu fiz o mesmo, Raul. Ups. Ups.
Não deu, né? Para parecer sério.
Another moment. Yesterday we have a party and our found it's psychedelical.
Yesterday you had what?
We had a party, Robyn.
A party.
On the Zoom?
Yeah.
Well, how fun. I hope it went well. Did you dance?
Oh, yeah.
Yes. With DJ.
I was thinking it'd be fun to dance. So did you make me host?
Yes. Jean, ela disse que não está ainda como host ou co-host.
Mara, voltei, tá? Tô aqui. Você conseguiu falar com a Ângela?
Estou falando com ela. Pode deixar que eu envio o link ali. Só, por favor, já vê. Ela não está como co-host ainda. Tu pode ajudar ela não tá conseguindo compartilhar.
Quem não está como co-host?
A Robyn Walser.
Deixa eu ver aqui.
Mara?
Ela tá sim.
Tá sim?
Co-host.
Uai.
Nós pegaremos...
Raul, ajuda ela, por favor, para compartilhar o material, enquanto eu vejo aqui com os tradutores.
Ok, claro.
Hi, Raul.
Hi, Robyn. How are you doing?
Doing fine, thank you.
Would you like to send me the material that you're presenting? Or I don't know if that helps. Or...
I think I can just share it from my screen. I'm happy to send it to you, but whatever, I think it, what would you prefer, Raul?
What's best for you, actually? We're trying to make you a host at the moment.
If you can't, then maybe I better send this to you, yeah, just in case.
Good morning. Hi, Robyn.
Hello.
I'm Angela. I'm going to be one of the interpreters. I just turned my camera on so that I could put a body into this voice.
Okay.
But during your talk, we will have the cameras off. Okay.
All right. Wonderful.
And we have another interpreter. Her name is Amanda.
Great. Nice to meet you, Angela. And if Amanda can hear me, thank you. Thank you to you.
She's not there yet. She's probably waiting for the web link. And I'm trying to turn here.
Raul, I'm
turning the notifications off, but...
Perdão, Ângela, voltei. Vou adicionar você.
Eu tô aqui.
Ai, que bom.
Ele vai colocar na cabine Jean e tem que
voltar. É só você, Ângela?
Não, Amanda e eu. Eu não estou conseguindo tirar o som do WhatsApp do meu computador, coisa que durante os últimos 2 dias eu consegui. Agora eu não sei o que está acontecendo. Mas, enfim. E eu preciso do WhatsApp para me comunicar com a Amanda. Mas, vamos lá. Vocês estão ouvindo, perdão, blim blim, né? Cada vez que entra um WhatsApp.
Não, agora eu não ouvi, eu não sei.
Tá.
As pessoas estão dizendo ali no chat que não.
Tá, ótimo.
Não.
Eu não sei o que houve. Para mim fica horrível aqui, mas se não aparecer para você já está de bom tamanho.
Jean, lembra de colocar o globinho para as pessoas escolherem a tradução.
Só depois que eu explicar para Robyn.
Ok.
Raul, I have sent my PowerPoint just in case they can't make me a co-host.
Okay.
It's kind of big. Hopefully it won't take too long to get to you.
Robyn, do you know how to use the translation feature in Zoom?
I've done it once. Maybe you can just remind me.
Yeah, pretty soon you're gonna see a globe down there on the bar, and then you click on the globe, you click in English and forget about it.
Click English and forget about it. That
Yes.
is simple and straightforward. I like it.
Good. I'm glad you like it. Amanda is in, but she's there as attendee, so she has to be made interpreter. You can, dá para nos botar na cabine agora, já.
A Amanda é a Amanda Francisco?
Isso, essa mesma. Uhum.
Hi, Robyn.
Oh, okay, I'm host now. I can do that.
Ah, ok.
Do you know how to do it?
Yes, I do.
Pode ligar a cabine, Ângela?
Okay, let's see. And I see folks are coming on. So I'm going to go ahead and put my PowerPoint on the screen. Yeah?
Yes.
Pode ligar, Ângela?
Pode.
Can you guys see it now?
Yes.
Okay. Voila. Okay.
Posso apresentá-la já?
Sim, sim.
Tá,
Vamos,
legal.
só avisa, só deixa eu fazer uma parte.
Claro.
Pessoal, quem quiser ouvir em português, tem um globinho abaixo à direita, é só clicar em cima e escolher a língua. E desativa a língua original, se não quiser ficar com um som baixinho, que é da Robyn falando. E perguntas somente no Q&A, no Q e A, ok? Ali no chat a gente vai conversando, comentando outras coisas, mas perguntas que vão ficar no final, só ali no Q e A. Ok, Raul.
Obrigado, Mara. Bom, pessoal, bom dia. É com grande felicidade e honra que apresento a vocês uma pessoa que alguns já conhecem, mas quem não conhece é uma pessoa que hoje eu posso chamar de, muito feliz de dizer que supervisora e especialmente amiga, a doutora Robyn Walser. Ela é ex-presidente da ACBS, ela é treinadora em ACT revisada por pares, ACBS Peer Reviewed ACT Trainer. Ela é diretora associada do Centro Nacional de TEPT dos Estados Unidos e professora clínica associada da Universidade da Califórnia, em Berkeley. Então, como psicóloga, ela mantém prática internacional de treinamento, consultoria e terapia. Ela é especialista em ACT, é autora do livro The Heart of ACT e é coautora de 3 livros sobre ACT, incluindo, entre eles, Learning ACT, The Mindful Couple e Terapia de Aceitação e Compromisso para o tratamento do transtorno do estresse pós-traumático. Ela tem bastante experiência em TEPT e abuso de substâncias e é autora de vários artigos, capítulos e livros sobre esse tópico. Ela é tida como treinadora dos treinadores e supervisora dos supervisores e ministra workshops de ACT nível 3 ao redor do mundo. Ela irá apresentar a vocês agora a palestra intitulada Flexibilidade Psicológica e Vitalidade. Alegria e a dor do bem-estar e vitalidade. Robyn, é com você.
Thank you. Before I start, Angela, I am not seeing the button that you told me about that says translate, or the little world button. So I didn't hear, I don't know what anybody said, but I'm here and ready to present. Should I just go ahead and begin?
How can I help you, Robyn?
And so you told me that there would be a little world button that I should click on to translate to English, and I never got that button. It never showed up.
The translation is happening. I don't know if it's you. I think you're already on, but okay. The globe is in the bar in the left, in the right. Sorry, in the right bottom. but I think the translation is working just fine.
Fantastic. I'll just go.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for what I presume, Raul, was a great introduction. I did hear you say the heart of that, so I appreciate that. Thank you very much. And I'm super happy to be here today to spend time with all of you. And thank you for the invitation to attend and present at this conference. And I'm very happy to be with you today to talk about psychological flexibility. You know, some of you will be, of course, quite familiar with this term. And I guess I want to approach it from the perspective of the joy and pain of well-being and what it means to live vitally in our lives. So that's where I'm going to spend my time today. Okay. So what I have here is a photograph of my mom. This was about 3 months before she passed away. And I want to just say a little bit about her to introduce this idea of psychological flexibility. My mom did not have the easiest of lives. She had 4 children and divorced when I was about 14 years old and had to take care of all of us on her own. And she worked quite hard doing that. And she met many difficulties and challenges. One being that she had to overcome the effects of domestic violence. I had a father who was violent and she suffered at the hands of that. But she did, and she overcame the challenges of being a single mother raising 4 children. And she overcame poverty, and she overcame many other challenges like needing to make moves and losing a business that she had invested a lot of money in. And the key thing that I want to communicate here about her is that she overcame these things. And I believe that she did that because she was flexible. She was adaptable and she persisted. And she's a beautiful role model for me. And the only thing that she couldn't overcome in her life was cancer. Although I will tell you that she gave it a good fight. I miss my mom dearly, but she's a beautiful representation for me to follow as a hero as I move forward in my own life, remembering to be adaptable, be flexible, be able to move in the world in ways that allow you to step forward in what you care about and what brings meaning to you. And so with that, I will carry on with my inspiration from her with a closer look at understanding what's impacting our mental health. And we've been so invested on looking inside the skin that we forget to consider how what's happening to us may not be how we think, feel, and sense as the pure problem. It is worth understanding what is happening on the outside of our skin that leads to and elicits and triggers the difficulties that we experience in our lives. So part of what I want to convey here is that we're in an interesting place in mental health, and I'm hoping that we can begin to step forward and leave the notions like the DSM diagnostic system or the ICD diagnostic system behind to some larger degree. Many of us are inside of worldwide or inside of pressures to use these kinds of systems, but it's largely because we've stepped inside the medical model as a psychological system. And in doing so, we've moved into a place where social pressure to be happy and succeed in one's life sets us up in a pretty difficult way of moving around the world. It's that our mental health problems are caused nearly entirely by things such as feelings of low self-worth and low self-esteem. I can't tell you the number of times I've had clients step into my office and say that the reason that they're suffering is because they don't feel good about themselves, or because they have low self-esteem. I can tell you almost every depressed person I've ever seen describes that about themselves in some way, shape, or form. They believe that they are worth nothing. And it looks like what we need to do is fix that esteem or fix that worth. And I want to challenge us on that assumption today. So our traditional standards of mental health then have been about being happy, and happiness is upheld as the marker of well-being. And it's heavily built into the way that we language with each other. As many of you know, even greetings and departures involve wishes for happiness. And I do want to say that I'm a big fan of happiness. I like it just as much as the next person. And hopefully those of you who know me know that I enjoy a good laugh, and even better, a good belly laugh, and want that to be a part of my experience in an ongoing way. But I also recognize deeply so that that is not the definition from my perspective of mental health. I want to bring in some of the things that are happening in our world today. In particular, if we think about COVID-19 and the impact that it is having on us physically, and the deaths that it is creating, you can already begin to feel the heaviness of what is happening in our world. But there is a second epidemic that's going to occur and has already started, and that's an epidemic of mental health. People are feeling trapped, hopeless, low, and they're blaming themselves instead of blaming the situation and the environment for what's going on. I mean, they can connect to that there's this terrible thing happening, but they also say, why can't I just get over it, or move past it, or meet it with strength in such a way that I wouldn't feel bad about these kinds of things? And that kind of experience is also happening in situations all around the world where authoritarianism is rising and people's rights are being challenged. And so we can just look at these two environmental processes and see how easy it is to feel uncomfortable, to feel distressed, to feel sad, and to ask people to not worry or just be happy, or to say that there's something wrong with them during these times, truly misses what's happening in terms of how we approach mental health. Context absolutely matters, and a more useful understanding of what's going on for people when they're facing mental health issues are the dynamic interaction of looking at problems in terms of the dynamic interaction of people, their learning histories, and their environments. We got to look beyond what people are thinking, feeling, and sensing, and focus on what's going on around individuals. What have they learned across time? What kind of environments are they living in that would actually suppress opportunities to experience joy? Maybe it's not that they can't feel joy. Maybe it's that the environment isn't allowing that kind of a process. So I'm going to invite us to expand the way we think about how we're treating individuals, and really beginning to assess the circumstances of an individual's life. What's the family situation? What's the social support? What are the other things that might be impinging on their freedom? We might look at such other stressors, things like gender-based roles. We know, for instance, and there's plenty of data to support this, that oppression of women is stressful, and that it causes many difficulties for women, and those difficulties impact entire societies. It is important for us to create equality for all human beings and races. Negative childhood experiences and life experiences such as trauma clearly impact what's happening to us as we grow older. We know that if you've been traumatized as a child, you're far more likely to be traumatized as an adult. And you don't have to be the one who is causing that trauma. That trauma is visited upon us in many different ways. So struggles with mental health can include everything from violence to socioeconomic disadvantage, income equality. Subordinate social status has been found to be linked to mental health difficulties. Again, oppression. And many of you may know that here in the United States, we're encountering very challenging times that have to do with race and racism. And there is clearly racial trauma that occurs across people's lifetime. And living inside of that subordinate social status creates a lot of stress for individuals. Other things like unremitting responsibility for the care of others. So even just being a caretaker of those in your family can lead to difficulties and problems that we sometimes may not be thinking about when we're considering the context of an individual's mental health. So part of what I want to suggest is that the work and support needed to rise into our own sense of a fulfilling life that isn't marred by calls to feel good. I know there were times when my mother was struggling, and she was struggling deeply with times of sadness and times of stress and thinking about how to feed her children. But her thoughts and feelings about this were not disordered. They were natural responses to what was going on for her. And so I want us to rise, if we can, ourselves, and to invite our clients to instead connect to personal values and know that what that means, that joy and pain will be a part of this growth, that pain will be a part of rising into what I'm going to call good mental health. And it will require courage. And what I mean by that is you keep moving your feet forward, you keep taking those steps, and the adaptability and ability to be flexible in those moments of pain. So part of what we're doing inside of the CBS world and ACT specifically is making room to open up to the possibility of meaning making rather than happiness making. Now, moving into living vitally, which in my opinion contains both joy and pain. We have for so long thought of vitality as kind of a joyous experience, and I want us to stretch our definition of that and to think about vitality containing the full continuum of life experiences. When I think about vitality or tasting life, it isn't just about only feeling joy. It may seem odd, but I want to taste everything on the menu, including the things that don't taste so good. And this might mean being present to a very a deep pain.
Robyn,
Yes.
sorry, we just have some thing on the translation. If you could hold just a minute for people don't lose what you are saying.
Sure, sure.
Sorry.
No worries.
Sorry about that, Robyn. It's very valuable what you are saying, and people don't want to lose any a bit.
But no worries. Just let me know when you're ready.
We are back.
Are we back?
We are back.
Okay, so I can proceed. Can I proceed?
Yes, yes.
Okay,
Thank
all right.
you.
Yes, Robyn. Okay, thank you. Yes.
No
yes.
worries, no worries. Do I need to speak slower? Okay, great. So part of what I'm inviting us to do in terms of thinking about tasting everything on the menu is to revisualize well-being, to make space for all that we feel, experience, and take in as human beings, reflecting on ourselves as experiencing beings rather than beings who must experience certain things. So I'm going to hold, and this is part of why I am in CBS and appreciate ACT so much, that psychological flexibility is a fundamental aspect of health and what I want to promote with my clients. So as noted, although I love positive emotions, again, they're really great, that these kinds of things are not always the key to being inside of the world in a healthy way. We have basic needs for belonging, and those don't come all the time from feeling good. Indeed our needs for competence and autonomy, those things seen as the corner of psychological health, are indeed potentially problematic. We're all going to feel incompetent. It is a part of our lives. And we're all going to feel at times that we need others. And indeed, I believe we do, that we are not independent and autonomous beings that can generally go without others. Now, there may be some in the world who are like that and okay with that kind of process, but I would argue that to need another is not a sign of psychological problem. So these kinds of desires that are built on positivity that fail to capture the fluctuating and conflicting forces that are revealed when people navigate the environment and the social world. They fail to recognize that the loss of a loved one can mean that you might encounter sadness across a very long period of time, perhaps even your lifetime. They fail to capture what's happening in our lives today, where to be happy under the circumstances that we're encountering worldwide almost feels ridiculous in some ways when people are losing their lives and being confronted with terrible illness. And so I want to just convey that as experiencing beings, we will have a full range of thoughts, including those that are joyful and including those that you would never share with another human being because they seem too dark or too terrible. We will have unusual thoughts. Like this morning, I'm kind of chuckling because this morning when I woke up, I was thinking about Harry Potter. And why did, of all things, why was Hermione in love with the redheaded guy, which I can't remember his name? Like that was on my mind when I woke up. But what an unusual thing. Like, why would I be thinking about that? Like, we don't always